Gata for the sound of the bell. Mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friends, sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco-Buddhism together. The sound of the temple bell booms for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of non-violent global village forever. Here is the after sound of the bell. Thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Vairochana Mahamudra Mani Padme Jvala Pravartaya.
Please stand and come forward for the chanting of the three refuges. Shivam Samse
Shivang Samse Chemang Chale Sanju Ilshe Dharmaya Anju Shishi Quimyang Ne Shivang Samse Chemang Chale Sanju Ilshe Sangaya Anju.
And please repeat after me this English version. I go for refuge to the Buddha
I go for refuge to the Buddha
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
and realize the great way.
and realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma
I go for refuge to the Dharma
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teachings
I will penetrate the teachings
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha
I go for refuge to the Sangha
and resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many
I will seek peace and happiness for the many
and transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
and transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
Please now continue with meditation for about 5 minutes. Go to your places. You are a seeker. Please just go ahead and sit down. When you sit down, it's really important to prepare your posture. The meditation pose is called the pose of joyful ease. And part of that, the ease, is that the posture be in balance. So sometimes it's helpful to bring your hands up and feel the stretch right to your waist. and turn the hands out and come down slowly. Sometimes you can hear the snap, crackle, and pop of the spine. And then put your left fingers on top of your right and thumbs just intimately touching in this meditation mudra. It's the mudra of the Zen Unsu, the Zen circle. No beginning, no ending, always going round the circle. And then gently, with a micro move, bring your hip bones a little forward. Micro moving, lift your sternum a little up. Allow gravity to bring your shoulders down and your shoulder blades. Move them imperceptibly closer. Consciously take some deep breaths. 3 maybe. And then allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. And go to your meditation practice. Metaphorically speaking, sitting like a mountain. Weather coming and going. Seasons coming and going. Please stand and come forward for listening to our Dharma talk, and maybe that you stand and just change position in your room. This morning we are having a talk from Kusa Ivan Meyerhofer. He's our Dharma teacher who lives in Colorado Springs. He's given talks before during the pandemic, so I'd like to welcome him back this morning, this December morning. And I think his topic is generosity and gratitude.
Hello, everybody. I think we're on me. Just give me 1 second to settle in. Let's all settle in for this talk. Okay, good. So working with many cameras and screens here. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you, Haju Sunam, the Ann Arbor Temple, for having me today. I'm going to start with a talk on gratitude. And before we start, I poured you all a cup of tea. I know you can't drink it, and there's more of you out there than one person. But I wanted to just make this offering to you for being here. It's still warm. It's been sitting here for a little bit. And I put it in a cup. It's a very special cup. A friend of mine from when I was in San Diego college. He's a very special friend. I married him and his wife, known him for quite a while. And he also, for a while, was doing pottery and made this cup. And so I'll just show it to you here. It's a very nice, lovely cup. So I'm offering this to you today. I'm putting it here on the altar behind me or in front of me. And hopefully you're finding a way to help yourself with some tea or water at some point in time today, just taking time to take it in. And remember that kind of gift of tea, gift of time. Yeah, just that gift. We're going to start this morning with, I would like to go through various teachings on gratitude. And I'll say a little bit more about how this topic came to me today. But before we start, I felt really strongly to start with the 3 foundation stones, which is something that comes up in the meditation course. And just to give us the space and opportunity for practice. So I kind of want to build up a little bit more time for practice in our talk today. Just feeling like one of those mornings. So wherever you're sitting, you don't have to sit formally. If you don't want to, you can just sit comfortably. If you're standing, if you're on the ground, wherever you're at, just kind of take a posture and be very aware of your posture, aware of how you're positioned, couch, chair, meditation cushion. And listen deeply and carefully as we go over the 3 foundation stones. Peace of mind. In this very moment, there's nothing to worry about. Contentment. In this very moment, there is nothing lacking. Peace of mind. In this very moment, there's always something to be grateful for. Gratitude. Gratitude. In this very moment, there's always something to be grateful for. You know, in a real sense, we could just stop the talk right there. There's really nothing more to say. But we're going to continue. Another thing to say about that, you know, I often think about this with the foundation stones, and it's just something I've been thinking about before we move on, is, you know, it's asking us to see in this moment nothing to worry about, nothing lacking, always something to be grateful for. And, you know, we may not always feel that. I don't feel it right now. I'm in the midst of a mountain of grading, and I feel like there's much to be worried about, just in terms of my very local, in this place. There's also stuff happening in the world, continually unfolding. We're in the midst of an ongoing pandemic, catastrophic death tolls every day. So it can often feel like there's a lot to worry about. And I think the practice, and I want, you know, this spirit throughout this talk and the way I approach a lot of these practices is that they're both aspirational and they're a place of inquiry. So when somebody says, or when the officiant says, you know, peace of mind, in this very moment, there's nothing to worry about. When someone like me, who in this very moment feels like there's something to worry about, then I take it as a place of inquiry to ask, okay, so what am I worrying about right now? In this very moment, just right here, staring at this screen, often two internet worlds. Yes, I have lots of grading, but am I grading right here? And what is it that's worrying? Where does this worrying come from? And what would it be like if in this very moment I can just be present and not in the midst of that worry, just here? Because I'm not grading in this moment, I'm just with you. And so I take it as a form of inquiry. And I think, so sometimes it's not that we have to be in a place of non-worry, that we can allow that space of non-worry to be present in the midst of our worries too, and then move forward from there. We'll come back to the foundation stones at the end. The talk today on gratitude, I've actually been excited to bring all of this together. A couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago at the Thanksgiving service, Haju read verses from the Thanksgiving address. And coincidentally, or maybe the stars were aligning or something more than that, I was also working really closely on Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, Braiding Sweetgrass, for a class that I was taking, or seminar that I was taking on critical indigenous theory and studies at UC Boulder. So a lot of stuff was coming together, and I was thinking about gratitude. And so here we are today. And the wonderful thing about a talk like this today is I really just want to bring some text to you and some things people have said, and build some practices around it, and hopefully tell a story depending upon the time. So the first thing I want to do is I want to return to Robin Wall Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass. For all of you that don't know this book, I think Haju first suggested it to me, and it was life-changing for me. I mean, it was one of the few books that I just read through, and it just feels like you've been transformed from the inside out. And so I really suggest reading it if you can. Robin Wall Kimmerer, and this is her bio from the back of the book. Robin Wall Kimmerer is a mother, scientist, decorated professor, and enrolled member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. First book, Gathering Moss, was awarded the John Burroughs Medal for Outstanding Nature Writing. She lives in New York, where she is SUNY Distinguished Teaching Professor of Environmental Biology and the founder and director of the Center for Native Peoples and the Environment. So I want to go to a place somewhere, something that she says about the Thanksgiving address. But before we get there, just to remind ourselves of it, the Thanksgiving address, I want to read a verse from it. and talk a little bit about where it came from. So it's the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address from the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. And if you don't know about them, as I didn't know much about them before reading the book, let me just read a little bit about their history and their presence, ongoing presence, here with us. This is from the About Us page of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy website. Called the Iroquois Confederacy by the French and the League of Five Nations by the English, the Confederacy is properly called the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, meaning people of the Longhouse. The Confederacy was founded by the prophet known as the Peacemaker with the help of Hiawatha, more commonly known as Hiawatha. The exact date of the joining of the nations is unknown and said to be time immemorial, making it one of the first and longest lasting participatory democracies in the world. The Confederacy, made up of the Mohawks, Oneidas, Onondagas, Cayugas, and Senecas, was intended as a way to unite the nations and create a peaceful means of decision-making. Through the Confederacy, each of the nations of the Haudenosaunee are united by a common goal to live in harmony. Each nation maintains its own council with chiefs chosen by the clan mother and deals with its own internal affairs, but allows the Grand Council to deal with issues affecting the nations within the Confederacy. Often described as the oldest participatory democracy on earth, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy's constitution is believed to be a model for the American Constitution. What makes it stand out as unique to other systems around the world is its blending of law and values. For the Haudenosaunee, law, society, and nature are equal partners, and each plays an important role. And like I said, that's from the About Us page of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy website, which maybe I'll post some of these things on our Facebook page later. Oh, so let me start with one verse from the Thanksgiving address, and then I want to go to Kimmer's discussion about it. I find her discussion about it is very moving. But just as one verse that would be relevant for today, this is a section. This is from the published English version, the published Mohawk version in English translation of the address, made readily available to the public so that we can use it in our everyday context, which is important. It's not something done without permission. It's something done with a permission of publication from the Haudenosaunee Confederacy themselves. So this is a section called the Enlightened Teachers. And again, just taking a moment to gather yourself so we can listen carefully. Hold the words that will come to us from this address. The Enlightened Teachers. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now our minds are one. Okay, so the Thanksgiving address, if you go back, I think it's on November 22nd, reads quite a bit of this, and then you can find it online, and it's really worth exploring. And if you haven't explored it before, I would suggest exploring it in Kimmer's book as well, in the chapter called Allegiance to Gratitude. And I'm just going to read a little bit here about her understanding of the address and how she presents it. It's been with me. It's been kind of working on me for quite a bit. So she says, the words are simple, but in the art of their joining, they become a statement of sovereignty, a political structure, a bill of responsibilities, an educational model, a family tree, and a scientific inventory of ecosystem services. It is a political document, a social contract, a way of being, all in one piece. But first and foremost, it is the credo for a culture of gratitude. Cultures of gratitude must also be cultures of reciprocity. Each person, human or no, is bound to every other in a reciprocal relationship. Just as all beings have a duty to me, I have a duty to them. If an animal gives its life to feed me, I am in turn bound to support its life. If I receive a stream's gift of pure water, then I am responsible for returning a gift in kind. An integral part of a human's education is to know those duties and how to perform them. The Thanksgiving address reminds us that duties and gifts are two sides of the same coin. Eagles were given the gift of far sight, so it is their duty to watch over us. Rain fulfills its duty as it falls, because it was given the gift of sustaining life. What is the duty of humans? If gifts and responsibilities are one, then asking what is our responsibility is the same as asking what is our gift. And then here, Kimmer goes on to say, it is said that only humans have the capacity for gratitude. That is among our gifts. And then she goes on and discusses gratitude as a gift and responsibility. But just these parts here, that it is an integral part of a human's education, is to know those duties and how to perform them, and to ask this question, or these pairs of questions that are really the same in her eyes. What is our responsibility is the same as asking, what is our gift? And so for me, that was really moving, because it's, when I think about gratitude, which is funny, if you know, I'm sure Haji's like, shouldn't think too much, Gusa. But if you overthink something, then you're like, I don't even know what this means anymore. What does it mean to have gratitude? What does it mean to be grateful? And in a sense, that's a wonderful place to be, because it jars you out of, like, you thought you knew what it was. And then like, now I have no idea what it is. I'm overthinking it. And then some voice comes in, or some teaching comes in and grounds you again and says, here's something to hold on to for now. That gratitude and responsibility, that gifts and responsibility, that being grateful and doing something out of that gratefulness are not two, that they're connected. And so this raised a question for me, and just want to make sure I got the question down. So this got a question for me is, what do our Buddhist teachings of gratitude tell us? What do the Buddha and our enlightened teachers who carried, fought, crossed mountains, sometimes hid in small rooms from occupiers, sometimes traveled on planes across great oceans to bring this practice so that we can learn it, practice it, embody it here and now? What do our teachers tell us about gratitude and responsibilities? Is there also this connection between gratitude and responsibilities? And really looking then, you know, within the tradition that here I'm cultivating, and I've taken on a responsibility as a gift. It's a gift, and now a responsibility to really understand and to transmit in whatever small way that I can. What do our teachers have to say about this? So knowing that I'm not a lone person, I don't operate in a vacuum, I did the first thing I normally do, which is email people I know and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I work closely with a Buddhist in town who was a bhikkhuni who's recently disrobed. Her name is Aruna, her new name is Aruna Dhammadira, was a bhikkhuni for many years. And so I emailed her and asked her, when you're thinking about gratitude and you teach gratitude, what comes to mind, and what suttas do you use? And are there any key Pali or Sanskrit words for this? Because I was having a hard time finding it myself. So she sent along that there's a Pali phrase, Katanutta Kattavedi, and she said a little bit about it, and I found some teachings on it compiled by the Venerable Jnanadasana Taro. So this phrase in Pali, Katanutta Kattavedi, means gratitude, but it means it slightly differently. It's not exactly like the English words. So I'm going to just read to you a little bit from this compilation by the Venerable Jnanadasana Taro. He says, gratitude is called Katanutta in Pali and is generally coupled with Kattavedi. In this combined form, Katanutta is the feeling of thankfulness for benefits received or for kindness rendered, whereas Kattavedi is the expression or manifestation of this feeling through words and deeds. The word Katanutta consists of two parts, kata, which means that which has been done, especially to oneself. And katanuta, which means knowing, recognizing, or acknowledging it, namely knowing what has been done by others for one's benefit, prosperity, success, and happiness. Sorry, hit the wrong button. And then concluding this section, he says, hence, the connotation of the Pali word is rather different from its English equivalent. This suggests that gratitude involves an element of knowledge of what has been done to us or for us. I think that's a little bit where things are, you have gratitude when you know something has been given to you. I mean, if I have an everyday sense, is, you're grateful because somebody's done something for you that's benefited you. Might sound a little bit like, oh, it's benefiting me, but it's brought you some form of ease. It's brought you some form of positive feeling. It's done something for you in a positive way, a wholesome way. So you have this sense of gratitude, this feeling, right? So this suggests that gratitude involves an element of knowledge of what has been done to us or for us. But there's something more. If we do not know that something has benefited us, we'll not feel grateful and will not be able to express or manifest that feeling through words and deeds. So where this Pali phrase, katanutta kataveri, I think goes beyond what we maybe typically use in English, or at least that I've commonly used it or heard it used. It's not just about the feeling of gratitude. It's not just about cultivating feelings. It's about one, knowing when things have been given to you that benefit you in some way, having a kind of deep seeing through meditation practice, through our teachings, through working with people skillfully in the Sangha. So knowing when things have benefited you, which we may be surprised about, and being able to express or manifest that feeling through words and deeds. So it's not just the feeling inside, but it's feeling and expression of words and deeds. And it's not just gratitude, it's gratitude and responsibility, that these things work together. So that's some reflections on the Pali words. Thank you, Aruna Damadira, for pointing me in that direction, and for the Venerable Nyanadasana Tero, whom I don't know at all, but because of the wonders of the internet, I was able to find all of that. So I'm very grateful for you, internet. Thank you. With that, I want to turn to, I think we have some time, and turn to some other practices that are closer to us than in our Korean tradition and at the temple on gratitude. So the first thing that came to mind was the 6 Right Livelihood Guidelines. And I'm not going to go through them all, but I would like for us to work with, just for a couple of minutes, number 3, practice gratitude. So again, it can be a formal meditation posture, just wherever you're at. Just bringing your attention to your breath for a second. Being aware of the rhythm of your body. Being aware of your mind and your body, agitated or at ease. No need to change a thing, just noticing. Starting this practice of gratitude from the 6 Right Livelihood Guidelines. Number 3, practice gratitude. Notice what you have. So really take this moment to notice what you have around you. If you happen to be sitting next to somebody, maybe it's a partner, a friend, a kalyana mitra, maybe it's a pet. Notice that. That's something you have, a friend, a relationship, someone next to you. If you're sitting alone, you can even notice that you're sitting on something. Like, I'm sitting on this chair. That's something that I have. If you're wearing clothes, I hope you're wearing clothes. Well, I don't know. Actually, I take that back. We're all in our separate spaces, whatever you're wearing. Notice it. I have this robe. I have this meditation coat. And as you notice these, ask yourself, of these gifts that are in our world, what is my responsibility to them? Of these things that I am grateful for, how can I show that gratefulness to all that is in my world today? If it's someone you know, someone next to you, maybe it's checking in. How are you today? If it's a pet, like my dog Charlie, maybe I'm just going to sit with him and pet him a little bit and just hold him a little tighter today and say, hey, you know what? I'm happy you're here. If it's something more material like this robe or this meditation coat, maybe when I put it away, I'll put it away a little bit more carefully, and I'll think about Maum, who graciously and gratefully has sewn almost all of my meditation goods. And I'll bring to mind Maum and her teachings and her presence and all she does for the temple, and just be grateful. Maybe I'll even send her an email. I know she's listening, so she'll probably get, maybe just saying this is enough. But I'll probably send her an email too. The chairs we're sitting on, the couches, I haven't dusted this chair. This has been sitting down here for a little bit. Kind of just move it around. Maybe I'll move it a little bit more carefully when I get up. Maybe I'll think a little bit about how I came to have this chair, who made it, and my responsibilities to them as I move forward. So much in just noticing what we have. So the practice of gratitude in our 6 Right Livelihood Guidelines goes on. There's 2 others. Be equally grateful for opportunities and challenges, and share joy, not negativity. But as you can see, just that sense of noticing what you have as a practice of gratitude. And just as Haju said earlier at the beginning of this practice, when she said the pose of joyful ease, and ease here means a kind of balance. That ease doesn't mean like you're just, chilling and on your meditation cushion, which is also something you can do too. I would suggest just chilling on your meditation cushion sometimes. But ease here has, in Haju's teachings, a sense of balance. And so she's asking us, inviting us to explore what balance means. Here, the word notice, notice what you have as a practice of gratitude. It's not just saying, oh, what do you have around you? Oh, I have this cup of tea. I notice it. That's not just it. It's saying, as a practice of gratitude, noticing something deeply. And I would say it's asking us to notice not just what we have as gifts around us, but also what are our responsibilities to them. And more on that, I want to go to something that, if you've ever eaten at the temple, we're all familiar with, the meal gata, and just talk a little bit about that for the next few minutes, and maybe a little on its history. I don't actually know when Sunam formulated the version we have. Maybe Haju knows a little bit, but there is a tradition of it. And so I want to read a section of what's called the Mirror of Zen. This is section 62. The Mirror of Zen was compiled and written by Zen Master Sosan Hyujung Sunam around 1564. It was translated from the Chinese by Bupchung, and translated from the Korean by Hyungak. And I say all that because, again, if you think about translation and the process, so much, just to be able to read this to you now, so much has gone into it. So many people have spent a lot of time and energy and dedicated their lives to make it possible for me to read this to you now, and just want to honor them by saying their names here in our presence. And so Mirror of Zen section 62, which will sound very familiar to you if you've recited the Myogatha, goes as following. O students of Buddhism, the food you receive every day comes from the blood, sweat, and bitter tears of hardworking farmers. And your clothes come from the hard labor of the weavers. How will you ever wipe away the heavy karma incurred through receiving these things for free if you are not making constant efforts to open your true eye? Commentary. So Hyujung Sunam provides commentary for many of these passages. The record of the transmission of the lamp says, a practitioner in ages past did not make a strong effort to find his true nature, despite receiving offerings. After his death, he was reborn as a mushroom to repay the faithful for their support. And if you recited the Myogatha, that will sound very familiar. So I'm going to recite our Myogatha just slightly altered. And just so that I'm not just reciting it in the air, I'm going to recite it in front of this, which is what I will probably eat after we're all done together. These are a couple of fruit and fennel rolls from a local baker here, local bakery called Nightingale Bakery in Colorado Springs. And so the Myogatha goes slightly revised. This food comes from the labors and lives of beings past and present. From this, my body-mind is nourished, my practice sustained. Gratefully, we accept this meal. The reason why I bring this up in this context of gratitude and responsibilities is, first off, going back to the words of Hyujung Sunam, being grateful for these gifts that are coming to us, this food that's nourishing us, is, in a sense, understanding and looking deeply at what brought this food to us. And one way of doing that is through these practices. If you've read Thich Nhat Hanh, this way of interbeing, where you think, in this plate of food here, there's raisins, there's fennel, there's wheat that's come together in various ways. You might hear somebody say in this kind of very poetic way, the sun is in here, rain is in here, water, earth, air, fire, space. All of these elements have come together that connect us all. And that is a way of being grateful for this. I also think our teachings, it's not a but, it's an and our teachings from Hyujung Sunam and our Myogatha are saying, but also look carefully at how you got this food. Who made it? What lives were lost in the process of this being made? Could be human lives, but it could also be all sentient lives, animals, insects, bugs, creepy crawly things in the ground, right? As this was plowed up and picked in various ways. What lives went into the creation of this? I know, not sort of personally, but I know a little bit the people who work at the bakery that made this. But I don't know the people who picked the raisins. I don't know the people who cultivated the fennel. I don't exactly know where the wheat comes from. But I'm fairly confident it comes from a place and that there were people who labored to make it. I don't know how much they were paid. I wonder now if they were paid a fair wage, because I know from myself as a layperson that if I'm not paid for what I do, I can't survive. I can't take care of myself or my family here. And that would make me very stressed out and very worried. And so now I'm curious, where this came from, the labors and the lives that went into this, and what is the heavy karma that I've incurred through taking this on, and how can I repay it? And so I make this offering here, and when I eat it today, that will be on my mind. But it's not just enough for it to be on my mind. It's more that now I have to act it and express it through thoughts, words, and deeds. And part of that is saying this to you, is an expression of my gratitude for this food, is to bring this into the space here all together. And part of it is, my wife and I do work in town, not a lot, but enough to volunteer at places where we help people with food insecurity and housing insecurity. And part of it is just a recognition that it's not pleasant to be food insecure or housing insecure, to be not without food and unable to feed oneself, or not know where you're going to stay the next night. And so, at least in my own expression in this moment, as we see it, food and my gratitude towards food translates into working for others to make sure that they can have similar services. And if that's something that you would want to take up, you can always look up in your area homeless shelters, youth shelters, and finding ways of supporting them financially or otherwise. So that's gratitude and gratefulness for food. And I think with that, I'm going to finish off. I was going to tell a story about Haju Sunam, but I think I'll save it for another time. I wanted to return to our foundation stones because there's a lot that came up today. And I think it's nice just to settle with that practice. But understanding now this practice in light of this not-to-ness of gratefulness and responsibility. And so again, just returning to your breath, returning to your mind and body. Maybe something I've said has made you interested. Maybe it's agitated you. Maybe you're comfortable. Maybe you're not. Not having to change a thing, just making yourself aware of how you are in this moment. Listen carefully as we take up these 3 foundation stones. Peace of mind. In this very moment, there's nothing to worry about. Contentment. In this very moment, there is nothing lacking. Gratitude. In this very moment, there's always something to be grateful for. Just want to finish with these words. When you are settled and at peace and in harmony with your surroundings, and you feel, if even for a moment, nothing to worry about and nothing lacking, then it is possible to see a secret field of things you can be grateful for. And so a secret field of things you are responsible to as you slowly make your way along this Dharma path. And so I'm just going to show you again. I invited you all in for tea. I hope I'm going to put this again in front of the Buddha here behind me. Thank you for welcoming me into this space. And I'll turn it now back over to Ann Arbor. Again, thank you for having me. Haju Sunam, Hayon, Ma'um, people in the background, Pashu, residents, all the people that built that building, went into all that hard work, the donors that gave money for it, the space of the society stretching all the way back to Sunam's coming. Thank you all for inviting me into this space.
Across all these miles, Kusala, thank you. It's amazing how your gift over here, we all sat around really intent and appreciative. And I'm wondering how each of us will give back after hearing your talk this morning. Thank you. So we'll turn now to Hayun for some announcements, and then we'll have the 4 great vows.
Kusa. Welcome, everyone. I want to start with our own gratitude. We are simply overwhelmed with the generosity of our Sangha members, all of you, and many, many more can't be with us this morning who have been so incredibly generous in these difficult times, precarious times that we live in your support for our annual appeal, for our Sangha, to keep us vibrant, to keep us strong, to keep us here for you. As we said in the e-bulletin, we so look forward to the day when we can fling open our doors and invite you all in and share a good meal together, share a good sit together, share a good hug together. But until that time, we have to let it suffice to do things this way. And we're so appreciative and definitely feel the oneness over the miles. The second thing I wanted to mention is our Wednesday evening sittings, which offer a period of meditation, about 30 minutes, some chanting practice, and then a vibrant Dharma discussion that we do via Zoom. So you're a part of it too. It's not just listening to someone talk. It's actually a subject that we all talk about together. So it's really rich. And we invite you to attend that. It's open to our entire membership, and anyone who's a friend listening in is entirely welcome to come join us. It begins at 6:30 Eastern Time on Wednesday evenings, and we start with our sitting and then move on to our other elements. But because it's Zoom, you have to RSVP, because we don't know if you want to attend. We can't include you unless we have your email address. So please contact the temple at AnnArborZenTemple@gmail.com or call us at 734-761-6520. And we will be happy to add your name to the list. So if you're missing a little bit of Dharma in your week and you'd like some Sangha, we'd be happy to include you. And then the final thing is, I want to encourage you to sign up for our e-bulletin, because all of the things that are going on in January, we have a really amazing practice period that's going to be starting up, led by our Dharma guardian, Omyo Emily Howard. We're going to have other kinds of offerings. And so in order for you to really keep up with what's going on and all the things that are going on at the temple, you should just get this into your inbox every Friday, and then you'll be up to date. So you can call us, contact us again, AnnArborZenTemple@gmail.com, and we will add your name to our thousands of subscribers in this area and around the world. So please do that. And we look forward to talking with you and communicating with you. So thank you again. I'm going to turn it over to Haju Sinim for our 4 vows.
Please repeat after me. Excuse me. All beings, one body.
All beings, one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions, one root.
Blind passions, one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates, one mind.
Dharma gates, one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
It's touching to be here. There are 6 of us, and we're safe. And to see the others with their hands palm to palm is a kind of beautiful dedication. So when you go to the liturgy book, when you say the prayers, bring your body into that pose of dedication, of being one who is dedicated. It's really special. It makes the verses come alive because our body is the instrument for our awakening. Have a very good day and week, and we'll look forward to your being present with us next Sunday.